Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, guys, we are back, and I am here joined by the one and only Joel Drolshagen. Joel Drolshagen. I got it right last time, but this time I kind of screwed up just a little bit. I knew I was too confident. Joel, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you back.
I'm doing great, Casey. It's great to be here with you again.
Sorry, bud. Hey, you did a great job last time. Why don't you just kind of refresh the audience in case they didn't see your last interview? A little bit about what you do, about the business. You do a lot of things, and then I want to ask you about a sponsor. But let's just give the background of you first.
Absolutely. So I had a 28-year career in corporate America up to a vice president of sales. I didn't want to do this, but I helped multiple organizations that were in bankruptcy back into profitability, build territories, all of that. And really it's taken that, but my whole life since I was 22 years old, I've like been a student of the works I do today with mindset alignment, with helping people really achieve what those things are that they want to achieve and not live by that, year over year over year. Some people live 90 years, other people live 1 year 90 times and keep repeating those same patterns over and over, Casey. And my whole passion and purpose is helping people quickly get in there, identify what it is they want to do, and then start bringing that to vision, through creating a vision and then bringing that to fruition in their everyday life. And it has incredible results.
Gotcha, man. And you do so many different modalities in what you do. There's a thing called SMT, which you kind of are at the forefront of. Can you tell us, rewinds, what that is?
Yeah, through all my certifications, all my studies, everything over, like I said, a 3-decade period, is I've developed a method called the SMT method, which is subconscious mindset training. And we kind of got into last week when we talked about that. There's a conscious mind, what we're focused on, and so often we're taught by things that what you focus on is what you create. And that's true to some extent. But in itself, all it does is it's just wishful thinking, really, because we get to my, and I tried that for a number of years thinking I was doing the right thing. I was going to wishful think my way into the life I wanted, but it never worked out. So when I came upon the second half of our mindset, which is a subconscious, which holds all of our conditioning, all of our memories, everything we've experienced, all of our failures, all of that. And when we start shifting that, all of a sudden, it's so easy to focus on what we want and start bringing it to fruition very quickly. And when I say quickly, Casey, I'm saying like complete business turnarounds within a matter of 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I have a client right now I talked about last week that's doubled his business in just over 4-week period. Personal transformation and the things that continue bumping us up against the wall, to shift those and open up avenues to start bringing that to fruition, to bring about that life that people desire.
Yeah, I mean, you got a great topic for today, and if anybody has any question, they should just look at those testimonials that are on the website. I mean, there are people after another just saying exact same thing. I mean, like doubling, and you got this thing figured out. It's almost like you put some psychology and science into what you're doing, and really are helping people big time. Where should people go on? Where's that website again?
Yeah, IFGTcoach.com. The IFGT, easy way to remember it. It's freaking go time.
Yeah, I love that.
IFGTcoach.com. And it's time to quit playing small. It's time to quit, accepting life. It's time to quit repeating that same pattern over and over and really break through. And it can be fun in doing it. It could be expansive and exciting in doing it. It doesn't have to be trudgery and facing your fears and, like old school, pulling those skeletons out of the closet type of thing. We do it and make it enjoyable, the process, as well as arriving there.
Gotcha. Well, and one thing I want to get back to this, but you got a great topic for today. But there's one thing I want to ask you about is that you got somebody that you're working with, somebody real interesting. Can you tell us about this person that is kind of having a lot of the same qualities that you do, and you brought him into the mix?
Absolutely. I think you're referring to RimPage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick at Rimpage. So here's somebody, and this is so awesome the way God has put us together and aligned things is his whole passion was, when people are trying to get into professional sports, there's such a small number of people that get accepted and everybody else just gets rejected. So he took that drive within him to open that up wider, and he's created Rimpage. And in doing so, he is truly a game changer in the sports industry. So what he's doing is he's going to find out who the number one basketball player is in the world. And he's starting in Texas and he's growing, expanding. He's doing one-on-one competitions. Anybody 14 years of age and no limit to it can join in on this and play in these one-on-ones and continue to promote to the top of it. And in doing so, he's already opened up contracts for people who would never even be able to go to college. He's gotten them contracts in like China and such to play on their professional leagues. And these are people that would not otherwise be noticed through the systems, that the normal channels that we have right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to check out the rimpage.club, CLUB.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he does the one-on-ones on there. He's got a lot of information. You can go through the player stats and who the leaders are. And it's really, really awesome. And just seeing these guys light up.
Yeah, man. I see. And it's great because that goes into what you're going to talk to us about today. But I know what this gentleman is speaking about is true because it's a true fact. I mean, they tell you I played college football, right? And 99% of high school football players will not go on to play in college. Can you imagine what the stats are to go play pro? And find these people and give them a chance. I mean, it's pretty remarkable what he's doing. It's a great idea.
It is, because it's right now it's such a small percentage of people who play as youth and then they play through school and then they play, if they get into college to play, and then getting recognized from the college level and such. So he's really opening up the doorway here for opportunity for people. And what's really awesome about Casey is his whole passion is he wants to have an impact in this world. With what I do, I want to have an impact on this world. His players that I'm working with and working with mindset and helping them tap into that champion and bring it outwardly, which is the same whether I'm doing business development, personal transfer. I mean, it's the same tools I get to use in doing that. But every one of the people that I've talked to and work with that's in the Rampage organization, part of their whole thing, it's not all just the fame and money and stuff, is they want to use their life story as an impact in other people's lives.
Yeah.
So it's just that continuous flow of that.
Yeah. Well, you are someone who never, well, maybe at one point you did, but you found the passion, and you love what you do. You love helping people, and that's one thing I am excited to hear about because it happens to a lot of people. A lot of people lose their passion, and I believe that you are an integral part in helping people find that.
Yeah, and it's so rewarding and kind of overwhelming at times. What took me years to understand and test and practice and try to implement and then finally getting past that point, my clients achieve that in weeks now. So when I'm on a coaching session with somebody and we're doing the one-on-one and we walk through it and they have like those continuous like breakthroughs that are opening doors, and it's really, like I said earlier, so many people never even step into their dreams and take an action into it. They die without a single action being taken. And it's all because it's not our fault. It's not that we're not deserving. It's because of our subconscious conditioning tells us what we can do and can't do.
Remember you were saying that it's like that motherboard you made.
Yeah, there's like a motherboard in the subconscious that holds all the programming and just plays it over and over. So, somebody who's had a failure in the past, a bad relationship, and then something sparks and they're interested and they meet somebody, and then right away the walls start coming up, right? And going, oh, this isn't the right person. And without even knowing the person, they'll decide it's not the right person. Somebody who struggles financially a majority of their life, which is where I came from, will continue that struggle, even though they don't want to, even though they can't stand living that way, they'll continue that struggle until they go in and do reprogramming in that subconscious level, which is much easier even than it sounds saying subconscious mindset training. Casey, making the shifts is easier.
Got you. Well, now when you say the reprogramming,
yes,
the remapping and all that, can you expand on that to the
I can. Yeah. So give me a for instance. Let's take finances, okay? Because that's one that the energy of money and so somebody who struggles financially, I'll use me as the example. I've had a lot of clients, but this is a great example of this. So I grew up watching struggle my whole youth. I got in, and even younger, I said, man, I'm not living like that. And then I found myself in my early 20s repeating those same patterns, regardless of my income, regardless of my corporate income, plus my business income, plus, whatever else I was doing at the time. I continued to struggle. And if something came really easy for me, it's like I rejected it, like I did something wrong or I cheated or something. It didn't feel right. So that kind of thing like that. Well, once we go in and we can identify, and the SMT method is a 12-step framework that's set up to help people identify what that is. So then we can shift that. We can put more empowering beliefs in its place. We can use tools that are designed within the program to quickly start shifting that out, which then starts opening up the opportunity for the things people want to come to fruition.
I see. And can you kind of talk me through like the process? First, we get a consultation, right? We talk first, or do we just contact you on the website? And then take me through that first session. How does it go? What does it encompass?
Absolutely. And so the way I've set it up to be is I set up a 10-minute conversation with somebody. So it's just 10 minutes of our time. We jump on the phone, we talk about what's going on. I explain a little bit about what we do. And then if we decide that that works, then I want, because I don't want to take somebody and they don't, have never talked to me and jump on the phone for an hour and going on. So it's just kind of an icebreaker.
Okay.
If they're comfortable with that, if it resonates with them, and I find out what's going on for them and help get them a couple tools to start shifting that. And then from there, we schedule a 45-minute free coaching session, and we get on there, and it's truly set to coach. It's truly help somebody, where they're at right now and where they want to be, and get them some tools to start bridging that gap. From there, I'll talk about the programs I offer and the SMT method and how it works. And if somebody's interested, great. And if not, they still walk away from that call. Like the last question I ask everybody, Casey, is, do you feel like I've served you during this call? Because I want to make sure everyone I come across, I leave that conversation with an increase. So, and then from there, they, depending on the program, but every program I do starts with creating what I call a dynamic vision. And there's road mapping tools to help do that. And the reason I do that is we are so often pushed by our pain of our misery. We're so often pushed and shifted based on situations, circumstances, and conditions going on around us. When we get a powerful vision of what we want in our life, and I have tools to help develop that, when we get that vision, it's so much easier to shift that subconscious conditioning when it comes up, because it opens up more of the vision in doing so. And ultimately, it's helping somebody create that vision and then move into bringing that to fruition quickly.
I see. Now, do you have to be like a CEO of a company to work with you, or is a candidate to work with you pretty much just anybody who maybe lost their passion, is just not like you described before, just living a life but not really living and not really doing what they want to do? Like who can you help the most?
Yeah, and that's yeah. I mean, thank you for asking me that, because no, I've worked with kids that are 21, 22 years old in college, and they come to me and go, man, I thought this was going to be the time of my life, but all I'm doing is smoking weed and playing Xbox. And I helped one kid who his vision came out that he wanted to do this programming and put these programs together, which I don't even understand that stuff. But he ended up creating this program for the warranties that's in one of the major automotive manufacturers dealerships now, in multiple of them around the US. And this, I mean, he's probably a millionaire in doing what he's doing, but as important as the money is that fulfillment and that living life with purpose. So I've had a lot of people come to me for business, and they want to grow their business, or their business is in struggle or things like that. But I have people come to me who are employees who don't want to be employees and they want to have their own thing, or people who want to be in corporate or some area like that, healthcare, for instance, realtors, for instance. And they just want to live. They want to get more results for their life, for their efforts. And they want to have balance in their life. They want to have fulfillment. They want to, like, for instance, realtors or healthcare, they want to live through that purpose of why they went into that field in the first place, and help them find it, all the way up through retirees. Casey, I love when somebody's retired and they say every day is like a Saturday. But so often people will come to me and we'll talk, and they'll go, it was like that for like a year, maybe 18 months. But then it's just become like this daily grind, like day over day, and helping them find that purpose, helping them find that legacy, helping them find what it is that they truly, desire to still achieve. And I work based off of the knowing that our best years are ahead of us. No matter what our age is, no matter what we've already done, your best years can be ahead of you. But if you don't believe that, it won't be so. If your best years were back when so and so happened, that will always be your best year. So it's helping that mindset shift in that and open up to those opportunities.
Gotcha. Hey, let's see what the audience has to say. Now,
Yeah.
I can't see that far on that computer, so Mr. Producer is going to read some of the instant feedback that's come in. So
Appreciate your honesty,
you know,
Casey.
as I'm getting older, I know I should get to go to the eye doctor, but I just, Mr. Producer, what do you got? Who's saying hello?
All right, we have Katie in Long Island wants to know, I'm in my third year of college. I'm questioning if I'm on the right path. Is it too late to make a change?
Good question.
Awesome question, Katie. And that's bravery, even being willing to ask that. So, but I will tell you, no, it's never too late. But what happens is sometimes that conditioning will come up and say, oh, you're already committed. You're this far into it. But think about this. Think about the life ahead of you. Do you want to spend that life following it because you've gone this far? Or do you really want to find what it just ignites you and lights you up and get on that track? And I'll tell you, by doing so, you will very quickly, the enjoyment of living into your passion is going to outspark the level you've come up to until now. And I'll tell you, I just started working with a new gentleman really quick, I'll say. And his whole thing was he was going to create this business. He comes from corporate America and similar background to mine and stuff, and he's going to create this business. So we got talking last week about it, and he's going, I wrote my vision, but it just doesn't seem to spark. So I took him through a couple of exercises, and what it came out is he doesn't want it. His heart doesn't want to do the business. His soul, like his purpose isn't in creating a company. His purpose is he wants to help other people with the impact in their life, and similar works to what I do and stuff.
Yeah, I
and
know
when we
somebody
got
like
in,
that.
yeah, when we got into it, Casey, no lie, he was crying like
Wow.
over the phone. It was that deep for him. So Katie, look for that. Like, find out what that is. If I can help you at all, just reach out to me at coachwithjoey.com. And we'll schedule a free call, and you and I will talk about that and spark. I can help you spark some ideas, even if you don't know what that is yet. And if you do know what it is, I can help you better define what that is through that call.
Awesome. Hey, Katie, thank you very much for your honesty.
Yeah, thank you.
Isn't it true at that age? It's you could go so many different ways, and to have a little bit of help with someone who's been there like you,
Yes.
I think that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, and Casey, I have a nonprofit organization as part of my overall plan, and it's going into high schools and working with 10th, 11th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And instead of going to college for the paycheck, going to college because your dad went to school for that, whatever it is finding out then, like, what am I really passionate about?
Yeah.
And then finding out how to start pursuing that going into. And the reason that's so near and dear to my heart is because, I'm at the age I am now. If I'd have had these tools when I was coming through high school, oh my God, I could have had such a bigger impact up until now with my life. So helping somebody come into it earlier and get that impact, that'll change the whole world.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty awesome. Mr. Producer, what else we got, buddy?
We have Mike in Detroit wants to know, my dad used to tell me that I should start grinding at a job I hate so I can afford to find a job I love later. Is this true?
First off,
remember it.
Go Detroit. Fellow Michigander, love it. Thank you for that. And no, it's not true. I grew up with the conditioning that a man gets a job, supports a family, and hopefully lives long enough to enjoy some life in retirement. And I have generation upon generation that lived through that. What happens when we get into that grind, and this is part of a trap, is we get a job, we're doing the grind, but we're getting some money for it, and then we could buy a house, and then we could buy a car, and then we could, vacate. And all of a sudden, we're trapped, we're imprisoned in that job because now we've built a life around that job. So to move away, and not that we have to be, but that's what happens most of the time. So in taking that and moving to the other side and identifying what that is, one of the things I'll tell people that are working in a job they can't stand is helping them identify what it is they would love to do. And then we start moving into it. And the way we know it's time to cut ties with the job job is we get so busy doing what we're passionate about, we no longer have time to go to that job.
Hmm.
And that's exactly how we operate inside, how I operate with my clients and see it happen over and over again. So if you're in a job and you're in that grind, you really have one or two choices ahead of you, and you have the power to initiate both of them. One is to stay there, put up with it, and hopefully live long enough to enjoy some life in retirement. Or two is make a determination that your life's more valuable than that and start looking into avenues. Again, you can go to coachwithjoey.com. We can set up a quick call and start talking, but to really, however the avenue is, to start looking at, that doesn't have to be your truth, what your dad told you.
Yeah.
He was doing the best he could do for you, but that doesn't have to be your truth. You can break that chain of that.
Nice. When did you realize, Joey, that it wasn't you was successful, but something was just missing, and your passion was helping other people? Obviously, what was the first thing that made you realize that you were that last listener?
Yeah, even early on, when being in Detroit automotive industry, stuff like that, it's the way to go. So when you live in a small area like that, you become one up, right? So I had a couple of jobs already in automotive, and like there's the initial excitement, there's a paycheck, and then like within a month, it's like, God, I'm gonna spend my whole life doing this, And I remember at 22 years old, I was up in Warren, Michigan, and I heard a gentleman speak. His name is Jack Boland. And Casey, I don't remember a word he said, but I remembered sitting there, and even as I'm telling you this, I can feel this heat within inside of me. And this message came with it that said that told me I wanted to inspire, motivate, and lead millions of people to live better lives. Now that was great and it was really exciting, but I was struggling in my own life. It was like, how am I going to do this? So I thought it was to become a minister or a pastor of a church or something like that. And I looked into that, and what didn't, I am now a minister, but it didn't connect to do that full time and stuff. And throughout this process is where it's unfolded. And what I didn't realize is all the years I spent in corporate America that I didn't enjoy, that I, rebelled against and everything else, were teaching me to get to do what I do now, even at a higher level than I would have otherwise. So it was served me well. But it also would have served me if I'd have stepped into doing this sooner, but developing the program. So that's when it started at 22 years old. And it took me up until about 11, maybe 12 years ago now to literally resign from the last corporation I was at and step out into doing what I do today.
Wow. Amazing story. Joey, we're running out of time here, but maybe,
man, this goes quick.
Yeah, it does. It does. Mr. Producer, can I fit one more question in? Yeah. All right, let's do one more question, and then we'll wrap up. What else you got on the instant feedback?
We have Christina in New Jersey says, is there such a thing as getting stuck in a rut in life? How do we find it and how do we get out of it?
Great question. Great question. So if you're not getting fulfillment, if you're not getting purpose, if you're not excited about what you're doing, chances are you're doing something that you're not passionate about. If you've been doing it for longer than a week, you're probably getting into a rut. And I say that kind of kidding, but it's kind of like we talked last week where you got the sled with the rail sled with the, when you go down a fresh hill and it creates a track. And you go again, it creates a track. And then the more you do it, the more it becomes a rut. So when you try to get out of that or cross over it, it pulls you back into it. So if you feel like you're pulled back into it and it's not where you want to be, you're in a rut. And if you are, I want to celebrate you. Because if you're in a rut, that discontent, that feeling of not wanting to be there is such a great motivator and a driver to help you identify what it is you do want. It's not there to trap you. It's there to help serve you into looking at what it is you do want.
Yeah, great answer. Joey, let me give you the last word here. It's always a pleasure. I enjoy your passion, your enthusiasm. Great guy, man. So let me give you the last word, and then tell people once again how they get a hold of you and what you got going on. Anything you want.
Absolutely. So yes, I love talking with you, Casey. I want to do this as an ongoing thing, like a weekly thing that we just, part of a program. But yeah, this is so awesome. And I'm so passionate about what I do because I see the results in people's lives. I see how people go from, discontent and miserable and unfulfilled and using alcohol and gambling and, binge watching like food and things like that to cope with life. And just to really anybody experiencing that, I just really want to lean into you for a quick second and tell you, there's a reason you're experiencing that in your life. And it's not to hurt you. It's not to hold you down. It's to get you to start aiming more at what it is you do want. I would love to be of help to you to do that. You can go to my website at ifgtcoach.com, or you can just reach out at coachwithjoey.com and schedule a 10-minute call, and we'll jump on there and talk a little bit. And if it's for you, great, we'll go forward. And if it's not, that's okay. I promise you're still going to walk away with that, with a little more information on how to take the position you're in and use it as a gift to get you to where you want to be.
Awesome. Another great show, Joey Drolshagen. Drolshagen. I think I did better that time.
That was perfect. That's better than I say
got it on that one. Hey man, have a great weekend, and I love when you come on. Can't wait to hear what you got to say next.
Yeah, you too, Casey. Really appreciate you. Thank you. Be blessed.
Thank you, Joey. All right, see you guys later.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.